Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Many of you, like me, they followed Hope Olchinono. Uh, I think he's made a great contribution to the dialogue, discussion, political dialogue in Zimbabwe. But his latest contribution, I think, is garbage, to say the least. In this one, he's saying if you're a Zimbabwean youth without a job, medical aid, car, home, or money, and you're expecting a Zimbabwean journalist, doctor, engineer, lawyer, accountant, or any other professional in the UK living in a house like this. That's the house in the photograph. To come and save you, then you're a fool. Nobody is coming to save you. If you are scared of sjamboks, guns, or police dogs, then you will remain where you are, walking on top of sewage without clean drinking water or electricity. Nobody is coming to save you. I think it is garbage because it does not look at the historic reality out there. Zimbabweans did make enormous sacrifices in the fight for independence. Zimbabweans of all ages, yes, some carried guns, some fed the youth, some of them were the ones who were subjected to the constant harassment by the white regime, etc., etc. They all made a significant contribution. And many lost their lives. What happened next? Well, as history will tell you, on the eve of independence, Mugabe and his cronies decided that they were not going to take any chances in allowing Zimbabweans to exercise one man, one vote. They made it very clear that if Zanu PF does not win the election, the Bush war will continue. Of course, the people voted to end the Bush war. It is foolhardy to argue looking up the business end of an AK-47 rifle. Zanu PF got into power, and 3 years down the line, they launched the Wundi. The primary purpose of Wundi was to coerce the only other political party that posed a serious challenge to Zanu PF's hold on power, PF SAPU, led by the late Dr. Joshua Ngomo. Wundi raged on until 1987, when Dr. Ngomo and his colleagues finally relented and signed the Unity Accord, paving the way for the imposition of the de facto one-party state that has ruled the country. Primary reason why Zanu PF, Mugabe, and his cronies betrayed the people on the issue of one man, one vote, and all the other freedoms and fundamental human rights is, as we know, greed. It's all very well to talk of the Zimbabwean professionals' house in UK. This is the mansion that Mugabe built, the blue roof. Some people estimate that it costed 3 to 4 billion US dollars. This is what we are talking about here. This is what Mugabe and his cronies were fighting for. Absolute power and access to wealth. Here is Mugabe's successor, Mnangagwa, showing off in one of his farms, stretching to the horizon. This is what Zanu PF thugs would not risk in allowing people to have a meaningful vote in a free, fair, and credible election. They couldn't trust him to keep voting for Zanu PF. And so the poor villagers have been denied their fundamental right to a meaningful say in the governance of the country. That is the reality. By the late 1990s, the people of Zimbabwe realized that as long as Zanu PF continues to enjoy the carte blanche powers to rig elections, nothing would change. And the whole purpose of risking their lives to end Zanu PF dictatorship started. The MDC, as the party name implies, Movement for Democratic Change. They were elected. People risked everything to elect those people on the promise they would implement the democratic changes to end the Zanu PF dictatorship. We cannot run away from that reality. This apparently, or annoyingly, is a video of what happened in 2008 in the elections, underlying the risks that people ran that year. Interestingly, some of those scenes were filmed by none other than Hopewell Chinono himself.
2008 patakaita ma-elections pakaposa papinda Tsvangirai ndandiri election agent ya president. Ma-results abuda tiri party headquarters vamutasa vanga vari secretary vedu ve-administration vamutasa muripi yafona ndiri kwarusapi komo kuenda kwarusapi seka ma-results achibuda kudai vanga aiwa zvako izvo Mnangagwa ndezvo zvako endaenda kumusha ofisi vanga vabisa zvinhu zvavo zvose watofunga kuti zani yadini yaparara. President ofona zvakamira sei kati ndomamira zvakaita takatodini kateda sei manje mama ndikati abvudzai baba nditaure navo baba gadzirai politburo cabinet musarangarira zvimwe zvinhu gadzirai chi cabinet asi nangoda kuti muzive kuti 2008 ma-results abuda vamutasa vakatiza.
as a country, we face a generational transition. Vana vesa vari kuma below 35, they are crying out for help. The country is in a mess. Arusurufaro. We know we are inheriting a mess. We know this country has been left with nothing.
I'm assuring you that starting from tomorrow, you'll see a different nation from what you have seen or read on the news about these results and everything. Where we are going ahead there, the situation will be very different. What we said to our people, they could not see with their own eyes. We're going to act as we see it fit. We're prepared to go the whole distance.
Well, the truth be told, MDC guys did get the opportunity to implement the democratic reforms during the GNU. The GNU was the best opportunity that Zimbabweans have had to implement the democratic reforms to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. What happened? Mugabe bribed Morgan Tsvangirai and his colleagues with the E-Class Mercedes-Benz, very generous salaries and allowances. It is widely believed that cabinet ministers were paid a cool 1,000 US dollars just to attend the cabinet meetings during that period. And guess what happened? Our MDC friends forgot about implementing reforms. They failed to implement even one token reform in the 5 years of the GNU when they had the golden opportunity to do so. Worse still, post-GNU, MDC CCC leaders have participated in flawed elections, knowing fully well that the process is flawed, knowing fully well that by participating, they are giving Zanu PF legitimacy. They participated regardless. Why? Out of greed. So the promised change did not happen at the end of the War of Liberation, the War of Independence in 1980. And it didn't happen this last 25 years, even though MDC CCC leaders have had many opportunities to bring about meaningful change. So the question is, do we need more sacrificial people to risk their lives, copy the violent demonstrations happening in countries like Kenya, in the hope that that will save the country? I think that is failure to see the political reality on the ground. What we have got to answer first is, why is it that we have failed to bring about meaningful change after all the sacrifice that was made in the fight for independence? And then all the sacrifice that was made after independence. We still haven't achieved it. We have to break the cycle of yesterday's liberators becoming today's oppressors. In the case of Zanu PF, yesterday's liberators becoming today's sellouts. In the case of MDC-CCC. Unless we break that cycle, asking people to go on the street and carry out the demonstrations will accomplish nothing. We'll just be repeating that cycle. Because among those people who will be on the street, they will claim just the same way as Zanu PF has claimed, that we are the liberators and we've got the right to rule. That is at the heart of our problem in Zimbabwe. We have a regime, Zanu PF, who believe they have the divine right to govern. One man, one vote was thrown out of the window as soon as Robert Mugabe and his cronies realized they had the opportunity to get into power. The promises of democratic reforms were thrown out of the window by Morgan Tsvangirai and company as soon as they were sworn in and had the opportunity to enjoy the fruits of power. We can pretend all we want, but the truth of the matter is the MDC-CCC have become the Zanu PF Team B in all but name, fighting for Team A to win and for Team A to have legitimacy. We've made it easy for MDC to achieve that goal by being so naive that we believed that MDC-CCC leaders were still fighting in our corner, even when the evidence on the ground said otherwise. And right now, some of those people who are calling for the youth to go on the street are the same people who sold out during the GNU. If there was to be any achievement in the street protests, they will emerge and claim the prize. And the whole cycle starts all over again. I think the people themselves have got to wake up to the reality that we have been electing leaders before independence, after independence, who have failed to deliver. In Shona, we've got a saying that watumira mapete kumukaka. who, when they get nearer power, they get so blinded, they forget the real cause that they were elected to deliver on. And as long as we the people fail to see that, we will always have this endless cycle of electing leaders who, as soon as they get into power, they fight for their own selfish interest at our expense. So I don't believe the call here should be for the youth of the people of Zimbabwe to copy what is happening in other countries like Kenya and mount street protests. As long as you have not sorted out the problem of quality leadership, we will be back to where we are today. Where we were yesterday's liberators becoming, at best, today's sellouts, at worst, today's oppressors. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.